Yo, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for coming to watch. I've got guys an update on a major winter storm that we have brewing here for the eastern United States. As you can see right now, we have a lot of freezing rain, sleet, and heavy snow that's currently moving into the northern U.S. I've got all the details coming right up. So, thank you for joining me here on this Wednesday evening. We have a lot to talk about in this video, as we're going to go over all the details on what you need to know about this upcoming winter storm that we have currently moving into sections of the Ohio Valley and into sections of the Great Lakes region as we get into tonight, and then eventually in the Northeast as we get into tomorrow, as well as another threat for a couple more winter storms as a pretty major signal is being shown by the model. So you're going to start out by take a look here at your current radar. You can see we have a lot going on right now, a lot to talk about. So let me get this off your screen. This was from last update. All right, but we have two things right now. All right, one, you can see we have a little bit of precipitation starting to move its way onto the Pacific Northwest coastline here, bringing a little bit of that snow and rain to sections of Washington, Oregon, and the Northern California coastline there. Right, so upper elevations definitely heavy bursts of couple inches of snow. All right, for those, the mountain peaks, obviously, a couple feet of snow is certainly possible with that, but there's that low pressure spinning onshore, and that will likely continue to produce that snow up into the Washington areas. We actually do have some snow squalls approaching across sections of interior mountainous region of the Northwest here into sections of Idaho and interior Washington State. All right, and then the second part is this massive storm system that we have currently stretching all the way from pretty much down into the southeast through the Great Lakes here. You can see a little bit of snowfall starting to break out across sections of the upper Midwest into sections of Minnesota and the Dakotas there that will likely accumulate to anywhere from 6 inches to almost a foot of snow for portions of Minnesota into the UP of Michigan and into a section of Wisconsin there. So that will likely continue to spread overnight. And then finally down here in the Ohio Valley, you can see we have the southern side of the storm. We have a little bit of freezing rain actually going on here, and actually you can see a little bit of a stronger band of freezing rain across sections of western Indiana. Okay, this has actually been producing some lightning, so we have been seeing thunder ice or thunder freezing rain, if you want to put it that way. Just basically a sign that's indicative of very heavy amounts of precipitation coming in right now. So very concerning ice storm, and also we do have a little bit of a severe weather event going on down here into the Tennessee Valley, which we'll have to watch out for later tonight. So a lot to go over in this video, but let's get right into it. All right, so we're going to move on here. Take a look at your current alerts. You can see a lot of people going on, or a lot of people in this purple shade right here. All right, so we're going to start here in the Northeast. You can see, once again, if you're in this purple shade, you have a winter weather advisory. It's going out for sections of really western Maine, all the way down through all the Northeast, New England, portions of the Mid-Atlantic, down into the Ohio Valley and the lower Midwest. Here you can see all the way back down into sections of southeastern Nebraska, so a wide area of the country currently included in that winter weather advisory, and that is mostly for freezing rain, as we're talking about more of a mixed type of precipitation for the southern part of the storm. Now you shift your attention up north, and you can actually see we still have more of those winter weather advisories going out for sections of North Dakota into northern Minnesota and extreme northwestern Wisconsin there. All right, that is for where we're seeing the heavier snow. So that's where we're expecting anywhere from 6 to maybe even closer to a foot of snow. And if you look very closely, I believe we have 3 counties that are currently under blizzard warnings for sections of far northern UP of Michigan here. All right, that's where we're going to see very, very heavy blowing snow. Okay, that's where we're going to see visibility at least a quarter of a mile or less there within 1 to 3 hour span. Obviously, 20 to 30 plus mile per hour wind gusts are going to be expected with that. So very, very harsh conditions expected over there. You can also do see we have heavy freezing spray warning, which basically means that the waves. It's so cool that when the waves kind of spray out, basically, if that makes sense. You know how the wind kind of kicks up the waves and you get a little bit of a spray of water, if you will. Okay, that's when that hits a solid object like a boat or like the coastline. That's all gonna freeze. So you're gonna have like a really thick layer of ice just from all the spray that you get from the ocean waves, if you want to put it that way. So that's basically how you gotta explain it. So not a typical warning to see there, but definitely some pretty nasty conditions going on there. So definitely want to be careful for that. Okay, you shift your attention to the west coast. You can see if you're in this pink shade, you have winter storm warning. It's going out for sections of southern Oregon down into the Sierra mountainous regions here of California there. So if you're in the Sierras, obviously definitely going to see a couple feet of snow for those higher elevation areas there, and then you can see a lot of Northern California also under those winter storm warnings. And for the rest of the country, everything's been pretty calm for the most part. Still some areas of dense fog across sections of the deep south and the central plains, but other than that, we should be good for the most part. Oh, one more thing to talk about, we do have an ice storm warning going out for sections of southern Pennsylvania into sections of eastern West Virginia and northern Virginia. Okay, this is for those areas that we're expecting to see up to half an inch of ice accumulation, where we're going to see very, very significant, travel disruptions, and also obviously the fact that we could definitely see some closures and power outages as well. All right, so we're going to be moving on here to the 93K model for the Northeast. We're going to be just taking a look at kind of what the outlook for our winter storm is going to be. So we're starting out here to take a look at what we've got going on right now. This is about just a couple hours from now. You can see a little bit of that freezing rain just continuing to creep ever so slightly to the northeast here, but a lot of that is starting to spread across sections of Ohio and Indiana. That's what we're seeing right now. All right, and there you can actually see just to the south of there where we have that thunderstorm activity. Okay, if you're on the line between, seeing thunderstorms and freezing rain, you could definitely have a shot at seeing some thunder, sleet, and freezing rain only because of just how heavy that precipitation type is. All right, so Northern Virginia, you're going to start out with some heavy, heavy sleet and freezing rain that will quickly change over to mostly freezing rain as that cold air continues to dive southward. Now, watch as the storm continues to progress. Your low pressure system's now trying to get sub 1,000 millibars, so a very strong storm system here. So you get a little batch of precipitation here that kind of emerges off the coast of New Jersey. Watch as this whole system kind of evolves. This is the middle of the night. Notice how we are seeing incredibly heavy precipitation out here in eastern Ohio into sections of western PA. Okay, this is going to lead to pretty significant ice accumulation. I do think definitely some areas could overperform, and honestly, I think that they are kind of close. They were close to issuing ice storm warnings for this region. Now, their standards are a little bit higher in this area, but I do think that we could definitely see some overachieving accumulations here, as we do have a pretty strong signal from multiple models here of a pretty strong band, a solid band of freezing rain to move in. All right, we take this out a little bit further. Now we get into the very early morning hours of tomorrow when a couple people are waking up out here. You can see those thunderstorms still raging across sections of Northern Virginia, West Virginia, and Kentucky. All right, but look at the snow shield, this massive band of snow that's starting to extend all the way from upstate New York all the way down through New Jersey here. All right, this is going to be pushing off to the east. So basically, anybody that's north and east of this line, this is where our storm is going to be moving. So basically, if you're ahead of this line, you're going to start out as just a quick burst of heavy snow that's going to give you guys your accumulation of either if it's 1 to 2, 1 to 3, or maybe even up to 2 to 4 inches. All right, that's what you're going to get. That's how you're going to get that snow accumulation. So we finally take this out to 7 a.m. This is when the morning commute can be very, very dangerous, as you're waking up to very heavy precipitation in New York City, Long Island. All right, look at this. You're seeing a three-way split of precipitation between extremely heavy snow, sleet, and freezing rain. So a nasty wintry mix for these areas. Okay, up and down I-95, it's going to be a mess, but we're seeing pretty significant icing going on here into Delmarva, into New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, into New York City, New Jersey. All right, this is very heavy precipitation. Also, look up north here into upstate New York. We're seeing very heavy snow moving in as we go in the morning. So 7 a.m., everything's going to kind of kick into gear here, and then that continues over the morning hours. And then the storm kind of starts to lose steam, but you still got a really nice band of snow starting to move into sections of the coastal regions of New England here into sections of Massachusetts. Now, as that band kind of expands there, as the cold air kind of continues to dive southward, that is going to increase those totals because you're just going to see a longer period of time when you're seeing that snowfall. But on the backside, you could definitely transition back over to rain, freezing rain, or sleet if you're in sections of southern New England or into New England. All right, but for the most part, if you're really north of Massachusetts, you're going to stay as mostly snow for this event if you're, say up here in Maine, Vermont, or New Hampshire. So very significant winter storm, not because of the snow, but more just because of the freezing rain, the sleet. But we definitely will see some relatively significant snow accumulation, especially where the heaviest bands lie here on the, kind of that snowshoe. But really, tomorrow morning's morning commute is what everyone's nervous about. We're already seeing school closures and mostly delays out, especially into southern New England and in those areas that have the ice storm warnings. I think school closures, business closures, and stuff are definitely possible. But power outages, that's the one thing I do think is going to be possible. So that's kind of lead us into the next portion of our update. So we move on here to the HRRR. We're going to take a look first at your ice accumulation totals. Now, this is not the official total forecast because there's one thing to note: we will not see an inch over. We will not see over an inch of ice accumulation in southeastern PA. Okay, this is very overdone. All of the high-res malls are notorious for overdoing these ice accumulations, but the reason I'm showing this is because I want to use it as a signal as to see where the strongest signal or where the strongest signal is for very high ice accumulation. But just keep in mind these are not the official totals. So we'll start out here in a section of Ohio. You can see definitely some pretty significant icing out here. I mean, I think this is once again overdone, but I really say a couple tenths of an inch, maybe even closer to about a quarter of an inch of ice accumulation is certainly possible out here. And keep in mind also, this is the area I do think could have a chance at seeing some overachieving numbers. So, don't underestimate that ice accumulation. I know already I've seen dozens of pictures on X already of a pretty light glaze to getting a little bit closer to a couple tenths of an inch of ice accumulation already in Ohio. And we're already seeing, obviously, that thunder ice and thunder sleet. So, things are definitely going to deteriorate, and I think all of this ice accumulation will definitely impact the morning commute, especially for those that are waking up and traveling a little bit on the earlier side. But definitely those interstates and those highways are going to be a mess, as it's going to take a long time to melt there. But you can see also now going to PA, we're expecting this is where I think we're going to see the highest ice accumulation. Okay, definitely not going to see an inch of ice accumulation. That would be pretty wild. But I think anywhere from a quarter of an inch to maybe even just a little bit over of half an inch of ice accumulation is definitely possible right into here. Okay, this basically is going to extend down into far extreme western Maryland and sections of far western, or excuse me, eastern West Virginia there. All right, but this area I definitely do expect to see the highest ice accumulation, and then finally move into sections of the northeast here in New England. All right, a couple hundredths of an inch, maybe even closer to a couple tenths of an inch of ice is possible at that max. I do think there will be some icing possible down here in southern New England. I don't know why this run of the HRRR is not showing it, but there will be some ice. Nothing too crazy, just a light glaze to a couple hundredths of an inch, but definitely enough to cause some, tricky problems on the roadways there. So definitely make sure you take it slow if you're waking up, driving to work, or driving to school. But definitely, not the greatest of road conditions expected for your morning commute tomorrow. That's what I'm stressing the most here, because that's really when conditions will be at their worst. So we're going to get down into here our snowfall totals. Now, this is also from the HRRR. You can see we are expecting relatively significant snow totals. This does include sleet, but the HRRR is going for an area of possibly up to 6 to 8 inches across sections of southern Pennsylvania, which I think is slightly overdone. But I think it's possible, all right? If you're including sleet, I think that multiple inches of snow and sleet are definitely possible out here in this region. All right, maybe not all the way towards Philadelphia, but definitely 2 to 4 inches, solid 2 to 4 inches for you guys. All right, northern New Jersey, about 1 to 3, maybe even closer to 2 to 4 at that max. All right, New York City, about 1 to 3 as well. East End of Long Island, probably about only 1 to 2, maybe a little bit less there. And then you can see down here into sections of the Hudson Valley in southern New York State, once again, 2 to 4 inches. That's really what we're seeing across the board here for the most part. All right, 2 to 4 for portions of New England, and then all the way back up into the interior Northeast, probably about 1 to 2 inches is expected, only because you guys are pretty much going to be north of where the heaviest snow is going to fall there. All right, so we're going to be moving on here to the European month. We're going to be taking a look at what the outlook for the next couple of days is going to be, because like I mentioned over the past couple of days, there has been a very strong signal for pretty significant snowstorms. So we're going to start it here by taking a look at, once again, the European. We're going to compare the European and the GFS. So there goes our first storm system. Well, what's behind it? Well, we're watching another storm system this weekend that could produce snow and freezing rain once again to a very similar region, and we almost see the exact same scenario play out. You're probably thinking, is this just a repeat of what we had? And it's going to be very similar. We're going to see once again portions of Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New England are going to see start out as rain and or excuse me, start out as snow, and then we're going to get back down into that freezing rain. So there it is. It looks like a little bit more of a juiced up or more of a stronger storm system, if you will. All right, and there we do see a little bit more of a widespread and a much stronger band of snowfall out there into the northeast. Let me get zoomed in here to the east and west so you guys can get a better look at this. But you can see a very good snow signal here. All right, four portions of New England there. Very heavy snowfall going on there. So definitely some pretty good snow accumulations going on with that. We'll probably get into more totals as we get towards the later end of this week. Obviously, a little bit time for this to change, but this will certainly be quite the impactful storm system. And you can see also still another signal for possible ice accumulation in portions of Pennsylvania there. All right, so that's going to be something that we're going to have to monitor over the next couple of days. And then another possible severe weather threat for the Ohio Valley and into portions of the Tennessee Valley. So this is going to be another very impactful storm system. We'll have to watch out for some Great Lakes winter weather there, and then that's going to kind of head on out. All right, but anything behind it? Well, we get another storm system we're watching. Now, this is about a week out from yesterday, where we're kind of watching the evolution of the system. All right, but we are watching another signal from both the GFS and the European model on a pretty impactful and significant storm system here. This is going to start out as what's looking like it's going to be a low pressure system that's going to form from more farther south, your traditional area for a Ohio Valley, Mid Atlantic, and Northeast winter storm here. But you got a pretty strong low pressure system producing some severe weather down in the Dixie Alley. I think things are going to pick up with precipitation. Obviously, severe weather down there. All right, but there you go. You got a pretty nice shot of cold air, and this is a pretty decent scenario that we got here. We all of a sudden get a pretty nice thumping of snow here for sections of the Mid-Atlantic and southern New England. All right, this is only about 150 hours out, so still just about a week out from today. All right, but we definitely do have a strong storm signal picking up from the GFS European on this exact storm as we get into about Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, and then that kind of heads on out. So I think this storm could definitely be on the relatively stronger side. Now, things have been trending to the weaker side according to the European model, but definitely a little bit of a colder scenario here. And this, to me, definitely looks like a I-95 in coastal regions favoring snowstorm, but definitely still some pretty decent snow accumulation possible with that if that were to happen for the interior Northeast. And then anything behind it, even that, all right, it's getting a little bit farther out, still only about 190 hours out, so we still can look at the future here, but this is at this point just a total signal. This is not a forecast at all. None of this is really a forecast, but we see more piece of energy fly through here as we get into towards next weekend. So not this upcoming weekend, but next weekend, we can start to see a little bit more of that energy flying through. Any cold air nearby could definitely end up producing some of that snowfall, but the eastern U.S. remains busy, and then we get into kind of fairy tale land here, and this is where the signal continues to spike. We get a pretty wild scenario in the European model, not a forecast at all. This is just a pretty wild scenario. All right, we get just an absolute classic dip in the jet stream winter storm. This low pressure system gets very strong, rides the jet stream here. I mean, look at that. That is a really nice cold air source there. That is a huge Arctic blast, and you get a full-on blizzard and just an absolutely historic storm of. This is a storm of historic proportions. Not a forecast at all. Just want to show you guys this because of the signal. Honestly, all right. But obviously, if this were to play out, this would be a storm of the I was gonna say of the century, but one of the stronger storms that a lot of these folks have seen in quite a while here. But this will definitely not happen. Just a signal of another possible significant winter storm past the 15th. But at that point, you're getting way too far out to talk about much other than just, far away signals. So we'll just have to continue to monitor that over the next couple of days and next couple of weeks. All right. So what about the GFS? Well, the GFS, let's get down here into the eastern United States. We can take a look at this. All right, well, here comes out weekend storm system. There it comes flying through. There's that signal for pretty significant icing across sections of Pennsylvania, even in New Jersey and in the lower New York State there. That kind of continues to move out, produces that snowfall into New England, and then you're left with kind of a zonal flow. So basically, what you need is a piece of energy to kind of disrupt the jet stream, and you need a little bit of cold air to kind of come down from Canada, and that's kind of what we see here. We get a little bit of a ridge too, and there's that southern storm system that we're watching. There's that signal. Okay, the GFS has also trended a little bit more to a weaker and colder scenario, but we once again do still see an area of pretty cold air. With that precipitation, we do see some of that snowfall over sections of the Mid Atlantic and into sections of southern New England, so we'll have to watch out for that. And then behind it, we get another low pressure system to develop kind of from the tail end of that moisture surge. We get another similar kind of system a little bit farther north this time, and that does end up producing snowfall just about a week out from tomorrow. And then obviously the rest is fairy tale land, but we see more of the same where we get a couple of southern hitting winter storms on the GFS. So, I mean, look at that. That's like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 winter storms, pretty significant, all of them in one run. So things are definitely picking up in activity, and we'll definitely have to continue to watch this over the next couple of weeks. All right, so we look at snow totals just because I want to show you guys a signal. Once again, I'm going to stress this very much. Not a forecast. This is, by all means, this is not a forecast. I'm not saying that we're going to see 40 inches of snow in Massachusetts. What I'm saying, though, here, this is an incredibly strong signal from both the ensemble runs and the operational runs, the global models here, of just, very widespread significant snowfall. But you can see over the next couple of weeks, the GFS is going for multiple feet of snow to accumulate just over this time period. I think that's a possibility if we do get the amount of winter weather that the models have been depicting here. All right, but once again, I mean, this is a very, very strong signal. This is not a forecast, but if this exact scenario were to play out, we'd see multiple feet of snow accumulate over sections of New England. Ohio Valley stays busy, so all the areas you see highlighted on your screen in colors there, those bright colors, those reds, those oranges, those yellows, those pinks and purples, right? Those are the areas that we really need to highlight and watch over the next couple weeks for a very significant winter storm threat. And obviously, New England looks to be the hotspot according to the GFS with a whopping 40 inches of snow to accumulate if this whole run were to be perfectly correct. And obviously, we all know the GFS 384 hours out on the 18Z is not correct, so we're just looking at this for a signal. But that's what we got. This is the European model. So I apologize for that. So this is actually a European model, but still, any model 350 hours out is definitely going to be very unreliable. But European model wants a heck ton of snowfall out here into New England and into the Ohio Valley. Now we look at the GFS. All right, this is where we're comparing the two major global models here. So what we see on the GFS, well, it's more of the same. We see a lot of snowfall over the Ohio Valley, a little bit less for the Ohio Valley, but more for the Northeast here. Another area of 30 plus inches of snow accumulating across this whole run. All right, and then look at this small signal here for a little bit of winter weather farther south in the Carolinas. That's pretty far out, but still another signal for a little bit farther south, seeing that snowfall here. All right, so really a lot of agreement there from the GFS and the European model on pretty significant winter weather upcoming here for the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, New England, and into sections of the Ohio Valley over the next couple of weeks. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. So stay safe out there. If you're getting hit by that winter storm, make sure you're taking it slow on those roadways. Don't be surprised about power outages with those ice storm warnings. Definitely school closures, business closures, delays, all of that. It's definitely going to be a hazard for that morning commute with that ice accumulating. So just make sure you're staying safe on those roadways, and just keep tuning in. We'll keep you guys posted on what we see with what the models are showing for upcoming winter storms. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for coming to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.